Who should win MVP this season?
It's funny, Jim, we spend the entire regular season talking about this and then kind of like we're supposed to just dismiss the playoffs. But the playoffs do something, John. They reveal, I think, truly how valuable you are to your team and how far you can take a team. I think we can all agree that an MVP should not come from a team who can't at least carry his team to the playoffs. And Russell carried his team to the first round where he really could only get one game off of one of his main competitors, James Harden, in the playoffs. If we're going to have this award be awarded after the playoffs, it's too much to ask that the playoffs be ignored. My MVP would be, taking both regular season and playoffs into account, LeBron James. I mean, it's not incongruous with things I've said about how great Kevin Durant is, how great I think James Harden is, but when you factor in regular season and what you meant to your team and how far you took your team over the course of both of those seasons, it's LeBron James. It always is LeBron James.
Yeah, I agree with you. I never understood why they did that, why they didn't consider the playoffs. But the one thing I got to say about Westbrook deserving this is I know how hard it is to play in the NBA, to play, period. But to get a triple-double throughout the season and be the only second player to do it to Oscar Robertson says so much about this guy and his will. If he would have had Durant on his squad, remember, he's missing a major clog of his team that will help him get into the third round on the Western Conference. Durant wasn't there. He was on the other squad. So I think if he had more help, they would have gotten further. But he was definitely in his brain. Like, one of the things he said is, that's why I work so hard in the off season. So in the later part of the year, I can keep doing what I'm doing. So I do think he is the MVP of the league.
The format is consistent, though, with like college football. Sometimes you talk about, you can't take the playoffs into consideration with the Heisman Award. In the NFL, you don't take the playoffs into consideration with the MVP. So why do we have more of an issue with the NBA?
Well, so the argument that we always use when it comes to you can't take the postseason into account is that it's an individual award and you can't be punished for what your team, in essence, didn't do, right? Your team didn't make the playoffs. But what I would argue, especially in basketball, where one player can have such a greater effect than, say, in football, is that your value to your team is revealed to some extent by how far you can take them. Yes, it's still a team game. And yes, Kevin Durant's circumstances made it easier to win than LeBron's circumstances made it easier to win. But ultimately, when you're saying we're trying to quantify how valuable is this guy to his team. I mean, Russell's far and away the best player on Oklahoma City. But how far could he take them? He couldn't take them as far as LeBron did when LeBron didn't have Kyrie and Kevin Love.
Right.
He didn't take them as far as James Harden did this year. And James didn't have a cast of all-stars around him either. So I just think at some point how far, especially in basketball, you can carry a team becomes part of the weight of evidence in MVP.